Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of my life. Today is a special episode of the podcast. As you can see, I'm not on Twitch. This is not live. This wasn't even scheduled, but something that I wanted to just make. And I wanted to be very clear and honest with you guys. I wanted to be completely vulnerable, which that's not normally me. That's not even my thing. I'm just like, I'm not one of those people who just like, set up a camera. It's like, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that like I gotta go. Ooh, where's my ukulele? I gotta blast that shit real quick. Get on that train. Anyway, like I said, this is all one take, no edits, no anything. I want to be completely real with you. It's rough, raw, and uncut. So I'm gonna get rough. I'm gonna get raw, and I can be uncut. I got circumcised twice, so that ship sailed 2 times. But to be very honest with you guys, I haven't been honest with you. I haven't been honest with you. I haven't been honest with my family. I haven't been honest with my friends. I haven't been honest with myself for the longest time. And the truth is, I am not okay. I am 100% not okay. And I've been fighting these feelings for a long time. I've been dealing with these feelings for a long time. I've been handling these things on my own for a long time, like I normally do. But I think it's getting to a point where it's finally all catching up with me, where I know I'm not at a place where I can do things completely on my own anymore. And the truth is, as you guys know, I've struggled with depression for years. I've struggled with depression for a very long time, ever since I was 12 years old, where I'm just like, I'm kind of sad today. And then I don't get up for like a week. I'm just in bed. I'm just like, oh shit, what happened? I was supposed to be somewhere. What's going on? I didn't eat. Fuck. Well, this is fine. This is normal. And back then I didn't even know what it was. I have an eyelash. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what depression was. I didn't know what that meant. It wasn't until I was diagnosed in college, when I kind of had these little spills. And I was completely honest about it, and I realized it was depression, and it was due to a lot of different reasons. A big trigger for my depression comes from a variety of different reasons, especially now. Now has been even more reasons why, but I usually am triggered by a overwhelming feeling of loneliness. And that doesn't come from, having a bunch of people around you or being with a bunch of people or just like making sure like, you have all these factors on the line and have these people and you're going out to different places, going to a bar here, got a club hop here. I don't need therapy. I just need friends. No, I need therapy bad. And that's something I really realized is that I tend to isolate myself because that has been a coping mechanism ever since I was a kid. I never felt like I belonged. I never really was accepted in certain environments, and not because of, and my mom was just like, I know you sad because you're the gay, right? I'm just like, that's not why, mother. That is not why. I grew up in a narcissistic household. I was emotionally abused, and I was told that that was normal and fine for the longest time until I realized it was not. So that has something to do with it. A little bit. But I tend to isolate myself. And I've learned a lot of self-coping mechanisms because I don't always feel like some people understand me or they understand how I feel or understand my feelings, because it's just something that I've always dealt with alone. So I know how to cope with depression alone. I know how to deal with things alone. But there are things I do that are unhealthy. There are unhealthy coping mechanisms that I've been doing for years that I can no longer do. And one of those things are that, going back to me in college, I didn't really feel it a lot when I was on campus or in college. Mostly when I got home, that's when I started to feel like those depressive episodes. And it's not because like I was out there, I was just on the sorority girls, just like, come on, girls. It's college. Let's experiment. Take your top off. Oh my God, you take yours off first, Tiffany. Oh my God, Bianca, stop. Oh, Brad Bryancy's coming to the frat party tonight, and I look fucking good. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that he's gonna know what all this is. Like, no, that wasn't me. That wasn't my lifestyle. Though I was friends with a lot of frat brothers, which that's the trick. The trick is to become friends with the frat and not join the frat. So you can go to all the frat parties without all the pledging. That was a brilliant strategy. But the reason why is because in college, I kept myself extremely busy. I would always go to several classes. Some of my classes were actually scheduled at the same time, so I would have to cut one class, leave, and go to another class. And I even did a dual major program, which was supposed to be 5 years. I was able to do it in 4 because I'm not paying the extra year tuition. I still didn't pay my student loans now. I would always keep myself busy and occupied because if I'm busy, I don't have to think. I don't have to actually focus on what's going on in my life. I don't have to actually really like dwell really, I can't speak. I can't really dwell really into what's going on with me or the things that I'm not feeling. And yes, I still got depressed. I still had episodes and everything where like, and episodes are kind of funny for me because like, I understand when it happens. It's like, I know when I'm feeling sad. I know when I'm starting to start a depressive episode. So what I normally do is I kind of, I have a couple of coping mechanisms, but one of the most easy one is that I would do all my favorite things. So I would eat one of my favorite foods or treat myself to a favorite food. I would go hang out with some of my favorite people. I would watch one of my favorite movies, and I would just like do one of my favorite activities. So I would just like do all my favorite things, and that usually like helps subside it. And sometimes the depressive episode just like sweeps by, and sometimes I go through it. And if I go through it, usually I'm overwhelmed with a lot of negative emotions and a lot of negative feelings. A lot of just negativity, which is not normally me, because like I'm usually a positive person, but obviously not everyone's positive all the time. That's impossible. But you're human. You're going to have negative emotions. You're going to feel things. So when I allow myself to feel it, I always have to bring myself out of it. I always have to remind myself just like, yes, I have this feeling of failure right now, but I'm not a failure. Yes, I didn't accomplish this, but I've accomplished so much. Yes, I got rejected from this thing or this person or this opportunity, but I've been able to do a lot of opportunities because of it. But I usually distract myself by being busy. So I would overwork, I would overstimulate myself. Like my friends would always joke, they've never known me not with 2 jobs or more because I've always had 2 jobs. And it's gotten me ahead. Like I've been able to afford a lot. Like I'm pretty financially stable, which is very, very impressive for myself. That's a success story for me. It's something I am proud of. Like I am able to like afford certain things and do certain things. I'm cheap as fuck, but I'm able to do things, you know. I am cheap. I'm just like, look, when you grow up poor, it's like you don't want to spend a dime. You either don't want to spend a dime or you want to just like spend it on everything. You just want to buy the world. I see that so many times. It's like, why are you buying a fancy car? Just like, ooh, I got $5,000. Ooh, I'm buying a Lexus. I'm like, how does that math? The math ain't mathing. But I do keep myself busy a lot. So like college, I had internships. I did a 5-year program. In 4 years, I got 2 degrees. I graduated. I got a part-time job. I also was on YouTube, but I also was doing a lot of freelance photography and graphic design work. I still kept doing that with my next job. When I got my first like full-time real job, I still kept up with like side jobs and side businesses in graphic design and photography. And then I moved on to my next like bigger job, which was a great opportunity, but I still was doing work for not-for-profits. I was still doing things on the side. Even to now. Now it's got to the point where I have a full-time job. I own my own like side business doing graphic design and freelance work and photography. And I also have other client work as well too, through another agency. I have like 3 jobs going on. I have ongoing clients. I have a lot of work to do. And I do this to keep myself busy, to keep myself occupied, to basically give a sense of purpose. And it's become very unhealthy because it's overwhelmed myself. And usually that comes with sacrifice. Because I keep myself so busy, I sacrifice things that are important to me. So usually it's a social life. Usually it's my friends. Usually it's things like that. But then I feel guilty about not being able to see my friends or spending time with my friends. So I'll make time to see them. I'll make time to be there for them. If they have a thing, I'll make sure I show up. So I'm able to balance a job. I'm able to balance another job. I'm able to balance friends. I'm able to balance doing things. But the problem is I end up neglecting the one person who I have to live with for the rest of my life. That's me. And that's what I've been doing lately. I've been neglecting myself, and it's been keeping up with me. My mental health has been failing. It's at an all-time low. Not as bad as it could be. Like, I didn't have a psychotic break, though that did happen once. That was bad. That was a bad time for Andrew. But I do neglect myself. My apartment's a mess. My apartment's a complete shithole right now. I have not had time to clean. I have not done laundry. I have not had time to clean my car. My car is an absolute mess. Anything that I own is complete garbage. And I made this joke before with some friends. Like, I actually went out to go see some friends and hung out, and we had a good time. And I was just telling them an update on my life and all these things I had to do. And they were just like, yeah, you do a lot. You have to do a lot. And they're like, well, what do you know? I don't live my life for myself. And I said that as a joke, but it is true. I don't live my life for me. Nothing I own in my life is mine. I spend a lot of my free time taking care of my niece, who is like a daughter to me. I take care of my sister. I help her out too. She's a single parent. I help out my mom, who is getting older. She needs more help. She needs to, not saying just like, she's like Aunt May in the hospital every 5 minutes, like, cause like, she's up and lively. She's springy. She's always in the kitchen cooking something good. Her cooking's the best. But she does need help with finances. She does need help in other ways. And I try to be there for her because she, again, single as well too. And I put a lot of myself into helping them. And that also gives me purpose. That also gives me a reason. That also gives me meaning. But it's taken away from me because I'm doing so much for everyone else that I'm not taking care of me. All my free time goes to them, or eventually sometimes my friends, but mostly to them and to work. I don't come home to enjoy my house. I don't come home to relax from a hard day. I come home and then I start work again. I start another job. I start another opportunity. I keep pushing, and not because I'm about that grind life. I'm just like, yeah, I gotta get that bread. Let's go make that bread. No, it's just because it keeps me occupied. It keeps me from thinking, and I burn out a lot. Like, this past month, I've been passing out at like 8 p.m. If I'm not working or occupied, I will pass out right there and then. I don't properly take care of myself at night. I will wake up in the middle of the night to make sure I'm getting the, eat something to get the proper calorie count, because I'm not eating enough. When I'm catching that, I'm trying to catch that. And I just haven't been neglecting myself a lot. And one of the things that I've been avoiding thinking about, really, and I do sometimes, and it does catch up with me, and I have mentioned it several fucking times at this point, is that I'm not over my breakup. I'm not over the past relationship I've had. I thought I would be. I thought I would be okay. I've dealt with several breakups. I've been dumped a million times at this point. It's a track record. It's impressive, actually, how many times that I've been dumped. And I've loved before. I've been in love before. But I've never had anything impact me the way this has. And I haven't accepted that fact yet. That I lost somebody that I truly, deeply was in love with and saw a future with, and fulfilled me in ways that I never thought possible. And I've been trying to let it go. I've been trying to accept the fact that he's moved on. He's met somebody else. He is happy with that person. He seems like he loves that person. That person might be great for him. I don't know nothing about this person. Like I said before on this, on the podcast, I saw that he was with somebody, blocked him, blocked his partner. I was like, I want no part of this. And that's why it was really important to establish no contact, because I know I can't deal with it. Because every time that he did break no contact, I would just be filled with joy. I would be back to being the happiest I've ever been. I was like ecstatic. I was excited to see them on my phone, or him to just say a stupid message just as an excuse to talk to me. I love that. I loved it. I loved it until I would remember or be reminded that he is no longer mine and I'm no longer his. We're no longer together, and it's not his fault. I know, like, a lot of my friends are just like, oh my God, fuck that bitch. Like, yo, fuck that man. It's like, nah. Who can let you go? He's stupid. Why would he let you go? Oh, someone let you go? Dumb. And I appreciate that, but to be honest, I can't blame him for the breakup. And that's the worst part. I know I've said this before. A lot of the time when we have a breakup, we tend to vilify our exes. We see the negative, we see the bad, and we amplify that in order to just like be able to be like, okay, you know what? It wasn't that great. Let's move on. Let's go past it. And, you know, that is a normal coping mechanism. A lot of people do that. Some people do it to the extent where they only blame the other person and don't reflect on the things they could have done differently, like relationships of two people or more. So you kind of have to also reflect on like the things you could have done possibly to fix things or to be better. Not necessarily always blame it on yourself, which is the complete opposite side of the spectrum, but be able to see both sides. That's very important for you to do. And I get that, but the problem with him specifically is that his negative attributes were things I also loved. I still loved him if he forgot something like a date or something, or I still loved him when he did not think about the things he said before he said them. I still loved him even when he like got me annoyed. I still loved him when he this one time got me really mad about something because it was a miscommunication. He made me fucking convinced he had an STD. And I'm just like, why wouldn't you correct me then? It was the whole thing. We were open, so it's like whatever. But still, I was just like, ah. I still loved him then. I loved him at his worst. I loved him at his best. And to be honest, all he ever did was bring out the best in me. He just made me want to be better. He made me happy without even trying, by just being himself. And that's the worst part too, is that he didn't have to try to make a joke or try to do something or try to impress me or try to help me or try. He did not have to try. All he had to do was be himself. And it was enough because he naturally was supportive. He was naturally kind. He's one of the most warmest lights I've ever met in my life. He's somebody who lights up a room anytime he's in. He's someone who like everyone always gravitates to and everyone loves. He's somebody that if you ever meet him, you are one of the luckiest people in the world because you get to know someone like that. You know, somebody who just naturally wants to make sure you're happy, makes sure you're good, and can just do that without any problem or hesitation whatsoever. He just was somebody who I loved deeply and truly. And letting him go is so hard. I know that's what I have to do. I know that's ultimately what I have to end up doing because, like, you can't chase after somebody or pursue somebody who is with somebody else who has moved on, who is starting a new life. And the part of me who loves him, loves that he's happy. I can't say I'm not. I love that he's happy. I love that he's fulfilled, you know? But the part that loves me hates it with every fiber of my being. That he's happy with somebody who's not me. Who's someone else is living the life that I can't live. And when that reminder happens, it breaks me. I'm not going to lie. I've had breakdowns. I've been depressed. There's days where I don't know if I can go on. I haven't felt this. I mean, I've had breakups where I've felt depressed. I've had depressive episodes. I've been sad, but, you know, I've been able to, like, you know, at least pursue dates, or at least see what's out there, at least, like, try to move on, you know, take my time, pace it out. But, like, you know, I was okay. for the most part. I haven't recovered from this one. And I don't know when I am or if I will. This one burned deep. This one burned too deep. Deeper than I ever thought. And it was funny because, like, going back to my sense of fulfillments and where I occupy my space. So I really occupy a lot of my free time. I keep myself busy taking care of my niece, taking care of my family. And when I was younger, I wanted to have kids. I wanted to have a family of my own. That's something I always wanted when I was younger. And then when my niece was born, and I spent more time with my family and help support them, take care of them, go through their shenanigans. They are messy people. Love them to death. Messy. I was just like, oh, if I wasn't around, I don't know how they survive. It's bad. It's like watching toddlers try to do a handstand, try to walk, then wobbly knees, just be giving out any second. I'm like, you baby dears, poor children, but not the niece. The niece is surprisingly the most stable one. Love her to death. But because I put my sense of fulfillment into that, those needs and wants faded away. Like, I didn't feel like I needed a kid because I had one. I didn't feel like I needed like a partner or like a family because I feel like I had that with my mom and my sister. The partner thing's kind of weird. It's very ancestral. And I pray for them. You know what I mean. Not that stuff, but everything else. You know, the obligation, the partnership. I feel like that was fulfilled there. And for the longest time, I even told him before I met this person, I did not want a romantic partner. I felt like that was fulfilled. I felt like I was good. I didn't need it. But then I met him. And that all changed. I knew I wanted him. It's not that I wanted a boyfriend. It's not that I wanted a partner. I wanted him. I saw myself having kids with him. I saw myself having a future with him. I saw us living together. I saw us moving together. I saw us together. It was a very clear future, and it's not a future I see with basically anyone. So it was scary. It was new. It was incredible. But it ended. And then that future was gone. And now I get to see someone else live that future, and it breaks me. Or know that somebody else gets to live that future, and it breaks me. And I'm not okay. And I kept myself busy in this year from thinking about it it's funny, before I got this new full-time job, I was on the fence about it because I was asked to apply, and I applied. And then I was asked to do the interview, and I interviewed, and I did great. But I was on the fence about it because I didn't want one. It's a full-time corporate in-house job that's an hour away from me. Everything about that is disgusting. Like, what? First of all, who's in that office all the time? Not even hybrid? Really? And the year our Lord 2024? You make me go to an office? Madness. And I actually wasn't going to take it. I was good with clients. I was financially at a good place. I did not need any extra income. But I think I saw a post by him about this guy. And that just reassured me that I needed to give myself purpose here. I needed to give myself something. I needed to keep myself busy. So I accepted this job. I overwhelmed myself. I made sure I didn't have time to think because I couldn't think about him anymore. And I needed to escape from him. I had to get him out of my mind. So I wanted to fill up my mind with work, my life with work, and I would never have to deal with him. It didn't work. Backfired. Now I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and I'm heartbroken. And I know I said I blocked him because sometimes I'm stupid, and I unblocked him. And I went on a story, and he posted about his boyfriend again. And it felt like we broke up all over again. I don't think I ever loved somebody the way I loved him. And that's the part that scares me, Not saying like, oh, I'll never love again, or maybe I'll love again. this deep? I don't think so. But I'll probably love again. But it's also the fact that I don't really, like I said, my life went back to, after we broke up, my life went back exactly how it was before I met him. You know, I was busy with work. I was busy with my family. I was doing my own thing. I had my friends. I was good, you know. And before I met him, that was all good enough. That was great. It was awesome. Not awesome. I was like, it was whatever. It was a normal, average, everyday life. And then I met him, and he changed my life. We talked every day. He was always on my phone. Like, again, for a backstory, we live in different countries. So, again, I do not blame him for the breakup because we live in different countries. He's a realist. It's realistic for him to break up with me, you know? He's not a dreamer. I'm like me. Which I normally am not a dreamer either. I'm normally very realistic. But from the get-go, I'm just like, this is not going to work. We're not going to be a thing. It's not going to happen. We're just going to probably send news and call it a day. I was very mistaken because I was the one who fell in love with him like an idiot. And just knowing how that life is, seeing where that future could have gone, and then having to go back without it. I just can't help but feel like something's missing from my life. And it can't be fulfilled with somebody else. It can't be fulfilled by just like going out there and just dating around. I can't bring myself to date anyone. I know he's moved on, but I can't bring myself to do it. And it kills me that he was able to move on. That he doesn't feel how I feel. That also kills me. And when I think too much about it, it upsets me. And I spiral. And I feel kind of weak being so upset about a breakup, you know? But I feel like we're always taught that when we're dealing with something, we have to be strong. And we have to hold strength. And we have to show that we're better than the other person. And it's like, you know, no one else can mess with us. Like, no, we just have to be bad bitches. But I feel like we should stop that. I feel like we should allow ourselves to be weak. We should allow ourselves to hurt. We should allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Because that's who we are. We're human beings. We have complex emotions. We are strong one minute. We will break down at the next. We need to allow ourselves to do so. And I need to allow myself to process this. And I need myself to be honest, is that I'm not okay with this breakup. I'm not okay with the fact that he's moved on. I'm not okay that I still love him deeply. You know, I'm just not okay. And I have to accept that I'm not okay with letting him go either. You know, I'm not ready to. I have to. I'm not ready. And the worst part about this is being okay with the fact that that future that we saw together, that I saw with him, is gone. And even knowing that, how deeply I love him and that he still loves me too. And it's not like, oh my God, girl, like he don't love you, he moved on. But like, no, he literally told me so recently, which made it harder, which makes this all harder. But I have to let him go. And I don't know when I'm going to do it. I don't know when I'm going to be okay to do it. But I have to accept reality. I have to accept these feelings. I have to learn to let it go. And it's going to take me a while. And I keep occupying my time with being busy and all this other shit. And now I'm talking in circles. But to do so, I know I'm going to need to take a step back from basically everything, because I need to let myself process this breakup properly. I need to process the fact that he's moved on. And I need to process the fact that I'm still in love with him. I was in love with him from the day I met him, and I'll be in love with him from the day I die, and that sucks. It really does. I'll have to accept that in order for me to move on. So, this stopped. Wait, I don't know where it stopped. Oh God, okay. So we're just gonna keep going. So I will not be online for social media for a while, not active. I'll be on to promote social posts. I'll be on to promote my photography, my Patreon work. I'll be on to promote my podcast. This thing, my podcast, my streams. I will still be streaming when I can, when I feel like it, when I'm able to. All of that will have pre-recorded promos, so nothing live. My podcast will still be live, but everything else will be pre-recorded when I have time, when I can, to post, to promote that I'm on, because I do love doing my promos. It's fun. I do love doing these small things. I do love my podcast. That's my child. Like, that's the one thing I have that's completely mine, is the podcast. I love it. And I love that I was able to start it again and bring a community together. I brought so many people together, and I love seeing people interact on my podcast, you know, just like actually able to talk to each other and get to know each other. And it really is something that I really do enjoy and I really love. And I have to also step away from this toxic trait I have of keeping myself busy in order for me not to feel or to process my feelings properly. So I will be looking into hiring help to take care of a lot of my graphic work, a lot of my design work, a lot of work for my business. I will be looking into different ways to maybe cut some of the opportunities that I have, just to give myself space, just to give myself some mental clarity, because I need to allow myself to not be okay. I need to allow myself to be hurt, to break down, to let go. I need to let myself do that. So I hope you guys understand certain things. If I don't respond to messages or anything, do know I'm sorry. I will try to when I can. But for the time being, I just need time for myself. Okay. And if this person is listening, my last relationship, you'll know if you watched episode. I gotta promote myself real quick. If you watch episode 1, is the last person I was the romantic involvement with. If he is watching this, hearing this, listening to this, just know that I do not blame you for anything. I've told you this a million times because I know you feel guilty about breaking up with me and how hurt I was and how hurt I feel, and you know how hurt I am. But you have every right to be happy. And you have every right to move on. You have every right to do the things to do. Because, like, if the roles were flipped and reversed, people would be supporting me to do the same. You know, you're not wrong for what you did, because you knew what made you happy. And you knew at this point it couldn't be me, because we live in very, very, very different countries. But just know that I'll always love you. And I'm sorry I have to let you go. And I'm really happy you moved on, even if it kills me. You know what? You know what kind of sucks, though? I kind of remember, like, fucking Twilight. And I remember watching New Moon. I was like, why does bitch Bella being over dramatic? She dated this guy for like 2 months. 2 months they knew each other in Twilight. 2 months. And then she just like spends the next movie crying in the woods because he leaves her. He's like, this will be the last time you see me, Bella. Oh, mwah, survive the woods, first challenge. And then she's like, Edward! Edward gets rescued by a naked Native American man. And then she spends the next fucking 3 months looking outside a window, fucking crying to, it's a possibility. And then fucking screaming herself awake in the middle of the night like a fucking weirdo. And I'm like, this bitch is fucking doing the most in this so dramatic. Who the fuck would ever do this? I don't get it. I don't get it. And now I'm just like, now I'm Bella because I did the same exact shit. The same exact shit. I fucking get it now. What? I thought it was just for the movie. Oh, wow. It's, damn. I feel like, I remember watching that movie, she's just like, I don't think anyone's ever loved each other the way we love each other. And I'm just like, oh, bitch, you knew each other for like 2 months. I think the fuck not. I think they might be some other people. I don't know. That's just me. Now I'm just like, I don't think anyone's loved you as much as I loved you. Like, the roles have turned. I became Bella Swan. What is happening? This man has ruined my life. This man has ruined my life. What? Anyway, I also want to note that I've known I talked about this person for a long time. I know I looked for reasons to bring him up in podcasts and episodes and any possible chance I get because I can't get him out of my mind. But the next episode I have of the podcast will be on being friends with your exes. There is a segment already. He is an example on people that you just can't be friends with. So I will mention him then. But after that, don't worry. I will be sure to never mention him on this podcast again, because I think that's a good way to kind of clear him out of my mind and just kind of move past it. You know, I'm going to try to cope with my breakup off camera, in real life, and try to separate that from this as much as possible, because I need to learn to cope. I need to learn to be okay on my own. I think that's what's best. Anyway, it's gonna be funny when I watch this back like a year later, and I'm just like, Andrew, you a dumb bitch. Actually, no, last time I got over, I started to get over someone I was in love with for like 7 years. So I can't watch. You know what? 2040 is gonna be a good year. 2040 is gonna be a great year. I was like, wow, I'm finally over it. Yay! Because like I looked at my track record, it's literally every 7 years. It's every 7 years. It's bad. Like every 7 years I fall in love with somebody. And it takes me 7 years to get over them. I can't wait to 2040. I gotta go. This whole episode's a fucking mess. It went for me being vulnerable. I was gonna not make jokes. I was gonna be serious. But that's what I do. I'm just like, nah, this gotta be funny. This guy, I have to laugh. I need to laugh. But thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks so much for just supporting me. And thank you so much. And if you are somebody who's also struggling with depression, a breakup, feeling like you're being sad over nothing, or what you're being sad about or what you're depressed about is nothing, and you should be getting over it, and that other people are struggling, so you shouldn't worry as much as like you do about your own needs and wants. Just know that even if it's small, even if it is the smallest thing in the world that has you depressed, it's a valid reason, and know that other people feel the same exact way. Because I always felt guilty about being depressed. I always felt guilty about the smallest things. Like, other people are dying, other people are struggling in the world, and I'm upset about a breakup. I'm upset about not being able to do certain things or being rejected from something. And then that makes me feel even worse. But that's the thing. Depression affects everyone differently, and it's not about everyone else. Depression is about you. You have to make sure you are taking care of yourself. You have to make sure you are okay. And I know I'm not. So maybe do what I do, and I'm going back to therapy. I'm going to look for another psychologist because daddy needs drugs. I need drugs to deal with this. But know that there's help, and know that there are people also like you. You know, you're not alone. I know you feel like you are. I know you feel ostracized. I know you feel guilty. I know you might feel like, you know, you're not good enough or not worthy enough to be saved or to be helped. But just know that you are. Everyone is. Everyone deserves a chance to be happy. That's a quote from Maria Robotnik. Look forward to Sonic 3. Anyway, I love you guys. I love you all. I don't know what that was. And I'll see you guys later. Stay awesome. Take care.